For many years we've had the 50 years of cheap gasoline. That period is over. And we know that the resources are coming to an end, and there are various works on other type of energy. But the main problem with the motor cars, as we know them, is that when a great number of people, 7 billion of people in this world, are going to live in rather dense cities, there will simply not be room for all of us having 4 rubber wheels. There's a concern for the climate, there's a concern for resources, and there's a concern for quality of life in the cities and for room in the cities, because we know from present cities that if you have much automobile transport, that's generally not the nicest cities where you have the highest number of cars in the streets. So we realized that it could be a very good idea not to get rid of the cars, because the cars are, or the automobiles in some form, are useful to a number of things, but also they are used for many things which could be done smarter in other ways. So it's something about finding a better balance between public transportation, automobile transportation, bicycle riding and walking, and maybe some new modes we don't yet know about. It's something about, instead of going full-fledged for one direction, we realize that we'll have to be much more flexible and look at other solutions and see closely at the downsides of having too much automobile traffic in the cities, which we have many opportunities to study in this time. For many years we've designed a lot of things without knowing much about basic human needs and basic human facilities. I'm a strong believer in making planning based on the human body, what we can see, how we move, what speed we move with, because that speed we move with is also the time, the way we perceive and can understand the surroundings and see the details. So making planning closely related to the walking animal, which we actually are, based on our entire biological development history. We are a specific species, and we have specific needs and wishes to good places. So I really think that if we talk about a good urban habitat for Homo sapiens, it's very easy to define a number of things, because we have to go back to our own bodies and our own biological history and realize that we are basically a slow-moving, walking animal, where the vision is the number one sense, and we move linearly and we move slowly. That's the basis. And if we are to make spaces, we could start just there. And just to mention one thing, we have basically 2 types of spaces in our cities. One are the streets and one are the squares, or maybe the parks. The streets are actually something which is organized by our feet. It's a linear moving space. And the square is a place where we can have things organized where you need an area, but the squares can only be about maximum 100 meters across, because you can't see beyond 100 meters. So if you go to the what is called Heavenly Place in China, in Beijing, that one is immensely big, because that's not meant to be for people, that's meant to be to showing people that the state is big. But all other good squares in the world, they are less than 100 meters, because that you can see. And So you have these two elements in all cities, the street based on the feet and the squares based on the eye. And the park would be some also based on the eye, some area where you can do various things, but also the park, of course, would be a replica of nature, so you can have that feeling of nature going there. But the other two spaces are social spaces, made directly on what the capacity of human beings are. That's why you can see the same spaces in cities in all corners of the world.